All right, man, objections.
I think the first thing you need to do when you think you're hearing an objection is to slow down and actually ask yourself this question. Is this person giving me an objection, or is it what I call a situational truth? Meaning, they're actually giving you information that's true, not brushing you off. And when someone gives you a situational truth and you handle it like an objection, you've just broken all opportunity for rapport. For me, the better way is quickly.
Wait a second, I want to stop you there. I want to make this crispy. So let's go through an example, right?
I'll give you an example of both.
Okay. Let's go to the first.
And you tell me, I'm going to give you an example. I'll give you a couple of topics, and you tell me, Josh, whether you think it's a truth or an objection.
See what a great coach this guy is? This is how you coach, right? You don't take the shot. You pass the ball and coach the player through questions, just a sidebar. Okay, and we're back. Go ahead.
I don't have time.
I don't have time. I don't have time. So I'm gonna be the prospect. I'm gonna be the sales rep.
All you're doing is telling me if you believe it's an objection or a truth.
Okay, so I would have to ask a question. But you're asking me to just judge it on face value?
Yep.
I would probably listen to tonality, and I would say that is a objection, not a situational truth.
Correct. Until told differently. Now, if they gave you a why, it would make it a true. For instance, I don't have time because my server room's on fire. I have to run to an emergency. That would make it a truth. Got it?
Got it.
I don't have time is a brush. Next one. Can't look at your product right now because we just hired a new ops leader. Everything's on hold.
Truth.
Truth. If it's true, it's a truth. So, but we take those as objections. Now, what I like to do is say, hey, when there's a true objection, and somewhat in line with what you said this morning, I like to either align or deflect. Let's just start there. I don't want to handle an objection for two reasons. One, there's no rule that says you have to. Like, no one says you have to handle an objection. Number two, the minute you handle the objection, you've just handed over the conversational authority to the other person. Now they're managing the conversation. I've lost completely control because I did not call you up to handle objections. I called you up to set a meeting. Okay? So I've just lost control. So what I need to do is align with you and deflect on that objection. So you say to me, Matt, I don't have time. Matt, I don't have money. Matt, I'm not interested.
Let's actually do it. So Matt, I don't have budget.
That's not why I called. It's not why I called. Of course you don't have budget. I didn't ask you for any money. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to be very playful and just keep going. Of course you don't have money. Boom. No, by the way, nobody has money when I call them for the first time. Nobody does.
Right.
What do you think? They sit around with a Brinks truck in their office? No. So just keep going. They didn't say stop. They just said they had no money. I don't need money.
I love.
Now, let me just keep going. Now, just have fun with it. Just have fun. Now, the other thing with objections where I believe reps get into trouble, and your best reps get into the most trouble because your best reps are most passionate. Your best reps are most trained. So what happens is, like, for instance, you may be selling for a mobile company, and they're going to give you this objection, oh, I hear your network sucks. And a really great rep who's well-trained will be, no, man, we have the most spectrum, most powers, most this. And the challenge is you may be technically right, but you've just made someone who you've interrupted in the middle of the day wrong. Like they gave you an objection and you've just made them wrong. Now, what kind of outcome are you going to get if I call you up, interrupt your day, and then make you wrong all within the first 30 seconds?
You've damaged the ego. Oh. You've damaged the ego too.
Oh, dude, we're done. We're done. Like we're done. That's just done. Hang up. That's where you get all dial tone.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway in what you're saying too is we often feel like we have to diffuse or overcome objections rather than understanding and getting to the, as you put it, the truth behind the objection. Because I think the tendency for people, and rightfully so, because of mall kiosk people wanting to rub sea salt lotion on your hands, is to put up the guard, because we've all had terrible experiences with telemarketers or someone saying, can I ask you a question in the mall? And so I think the tendency to try to respond and overcome it somehow is where we get into trouble. So one of the phrases that I like to always use whenever I hear an objection is, that's okay, or that's not a problem, or
Right.
I totally get it, and to sort of lean into it. And you'd be surprised if you just did that, and you just did it in a very calm way, and like kind of what you did. That's okay. Someone says to me they don't have a budget. I say, well, do you have a Groupon? That's usually
I
my
saw
line.
that. It was awesome.
It's kind of just and playful in your point, but it's just the idea that. And here's the thing: dude, these are not words or tactics. You have to have the intent. That your intent is to get the truth. And if the truth really is that budgets are frozen, all buyers are not liars, man. The
That's
budget
right.
might be frozen and the timing might be off, and therefore there's nothing to overcome. And you call it situational truth. I love that.
Yeah. So I think, and when I read your post this morning, it really triggered it. I think the ability to have playful relationship with your objections, to be able to really sort through. And by the way, when someone has a situational truth, you should have a program in place to deal with it. So when someone just made a key hire, hey, that's awesome. Let me do this. I'm going to slow down while I call, but I'm going to get you some information that your new leader would want to know.
Wow.
Like, let me help. And then I'll call you back in 40 days once things settle down. But I'll get some information over in a week or so. Like, you should have a program for that.
I love that. So like with that, I have not thought of that. I love that thought because, I was last week, which is why that post was top of mind with the not a budget. It was like, budgets are frozen. So like with outreach, just to make this crispy, if someone were to say, and it was a situational truth, budgets are frozen, but we're, this is something that we are interested in. We kind of get how it can make us happier. What would you do, I guess, from a nurturing perspective? Would you guys set up in outreach like a nurture track and drip them different things? Or how do you
A couple ways. So first of all, and we actually train on the whole money thing because, buyers are not liars. That's why I call them situational truths, because it's true in the moment, but it may not be true later, right? So information will free up a new truth. For instance, let's take a look at what outreach can do. Let me do some scoping on your workflow. And let me just do some math with you based on some of the efficiencies we'll drive. I'll come up with an ROI based on your numbers, and let's see if this doesn't shake something loose, right? Let's just, I'm not asking for anything. Let's just work together and see if we can't shake something loose. It may cost you more money not to do this. Let's just look.
I love that. I have a similar approach where I say, would you be open to mutually building to see if there's a potential business case or fit for what I do in your organization? And they say, and you can tell a lot with that question, right?
Yep.
I love that. It's awesome. Hey guys, this was a little objection grooving spur of the moment. Hope you guys got something out of it between Matt and Josh.